Welcome back to the Engineered Impact Podcast. I'm Dan Korth, and today I want to talk about a principle that I think a lot of people struggle with. I struggled with this for many, many years, and it's something that I think is a natural inclination. And it's a principle that I'm going to call be, do, have. Okay. Now, this is kind of a lens that you can look at the world through, or a paradigm that you can see the world through. But what I've found is at least for me, and I think a lot of people, it's the opposite of how we naturally see life. Okay. And I think the lens that, or the paradigm that most of us see life through is have, do, be. Okay. If we only had a certain thing, then we could do the things that we really wanted and be the kind of person that we wanted to be. Okay. So let me give you a couple of examples. One of the ways this might manifest itself in your life is you might tell yourself, if I only had financial freedom, then I could, go on more dates with my husband or wife and be the kind of present, engaged spouse that I want to be. Another way you might encounter this is if I only had less stuff to do at work, then I could do the things that I need to do so I could be the person that would get that promotion I've been chasing for 5 years. Okay. Or if I only had a higher income, then we could be the world travelers that we want to be. Okay. So does that make sense? A lot of times we have these visions of what we'd like to be, what we'd like our life to look like. But we create these mental barriers of I can't go do that thing, or I can't go be that thing or that person because I'm missing this thing in life, right? I'm missing the financial freedom. I'm missing the higher income. I'm missing the time, right? And we create this mental barrier for ourselves to living the life that we really want to live. So, one of the ways that I have found to create success in my life is to flip that paradigm on its head. Okay, to look at what would it take, who would I have to be to have whatever it is I want to have in life, and what can I do to be that person today? Okay, now that might be a little bit difficult to understand. So let me share a story of how I've seen this play out in my life. Okay, several years ago, I believe it was July of 2018, so almost 2 years ago. I was sitting and talking with a guy that I'd recently met. And he was talking to me about, he was very actively engaged in doing obstacle course races. And I hadn't done an obstacle course race since I was in 5th grade. I won a second place ribbon for going through this obstacle course. And I'd loved it. I'd always had fun as a kid going through obstacle courses. I'd never heard of obstacle course races for grown-ups. And so he was telling me about these things, and there were different series that you could do, and some of them were, just kind of show up and get dirty and have fun, and some were pretty intense, and so he really liked these intense races, and in particular he was telling me about this series called the Spartan races. I never heard of these things, so he's telling me a little bit about these, and I'm thinking, man, that sounds hard, but it kind of sounded fun. I was remembering my experience as a kid, and so I went home and I hopped on YouTube and I searched up Spartan races, and I see all these pictures of guys climbing ropes and carrying buckets full of rocks and running up and down hills and getting all muddy and, doing army crawls through mud. And I'm thinking, man, that looks kind of fun. I kind of want to go do that. But as I was researching the races, I learned that the shortest races were about 3 miles. And I was like, I am not a runner. Okay. I did track in high school. My first year, they had me doing sprints, like 1 and 200 meter sprints. I hated it. I was terrible at it. I hated running just cause. I've always hated running for the sake of it. So I did track the last 2 years of high school because I liked being in shape. I liked feeling healthy, but I hated running just for the sake of it. So the last 2 years, I switched to being a long and triple jumper because I found that I still had to run and be conditioned, but at least there was a point to it, right? And so I found that I could bear the running if there was a reason for it. And so as I'm looking at these races, I was like, oh man, the obstacle courses look fun. I'd love to be the kind of guy that could, climb a rope and carry a bucket of rocks up a hill and go through the mud and do all that stuff. But I'm not a runner. And so I shut down YouTube and I did this have do be thing, right? If I was only a runner, I could go enjoy this Spartan race, right? Well, a couple months goes by. I think it was September. I kept thinking about this in the back of my mind, and I joined a group that was really challenging me with this idea that I could I could have what I want to have, or I could be what I wanted to be right now. I didn't have to wait until someday when I had some barrier that I'd created for myself to live the kind of life that I wanted. And so I really started to challenge some of the assumptions that I had about my finances, about my relationships, about my health. And I felt like I needed to be doing big things. I needed to be taking big leaps to live the kind of life that I wanted to have right now with whatever, in whatever way I could. And so I was thinking about these Spartan races, and I thought, you know what? If I sign up, I think it was like $100 to sign up. If I sign up for this thing, it's going to force me to be the kind of guy that can do that stuff, right? And I was convinced I could figure out how to climb a rope and train to do all the other hard stuff, but it was the running that really got to me. I was like, all right, if I want to be healthy, I want to be strong, I can do this. There's got to be a way to do this, right? And so I did it. I challenged myself. I paid $100. Like, all right, now I'm committed. And so I started researching, well, how, I can't run to save my life. How can I get to where I can run essentially a 5K, 3 miles, right? So I found these programs called Couch to 5K. I was like, all right, that's what I need. So I signed up for it, and the first day I go out there, and the way it worked is it was interval training, and it would work you up to where you'd run a 5K at one time. And so the first day I get out there, and the intervals were I had to run for 60 seconds, and then I got to walk for 90 seconds. And I had to do that, I don't know, 8 times, something like that. And it was awful. I get out there, I do the first minute of running, and I was like, all right, that didn't suck too bad. Second minute was awful. By the time I got to minute 5, I wanted to collapse. Like I could not wait for my phone to ding so I could walk again. And I'm doing this, and I'm like, there is no way I could ever run 3 miles, right? Well, it was a lot of work. It was hard. Every day I got out there, every day I couldn't wait for my phone to ding so I could stop running and have the walk intervals. But the first week it was I could barely run 60 seconds, and the second week it pushed me up to 90 seconds. I could barely do it, but I did it. And then we got to the point where you got to run for 8 minutes at a time. I'm thinking, are you nuts? Okay, and I did it. And then came the day where they wanted me to run 20 minutes nonstop. I was like, there's no way. And it was a jump from like 10 to 20 minutes, right? But I did it, and I managed to do it. I picked a pace, and I ran, and I did it. And at the end, when it's giving me my stats, I realized I've run like 2 miles. No way. I just ran 2 miles straight. Well, a few weeks later, lo and behold, I did it. I ran 3 miles, right? And then, so that took me about 3 months. And then I had 2 months till the race, and I spent that next 2 months. I'd run a couple times a week, and then I spent a lot of time doing strength training, getting ready, learning to climb a rope and getting where I could haul a bucket of rocks up a hill and all the other things, right? And then in February of 2019, last year, I did it. I ran the Spartan race. And it was such a huge breakthrough for me because I'd realized that I could choose to be whatever I wanted to be right now, right? Now, was I the best Spartan racer out there? Heck no. But I'd lost some weight. I'd built up the ability to run 3 miles at one time. I developed some new skills. I could climb a rope. I'm really proud of climbing the rope, if you can't tell. That was a big deal too. But I had this breakthrough in realizing that all that changed is in my head. One day I decided I was going to be a Spartan. And then it was just a question of, okay, what does a Spartan do? Right? I want to have that medal. I want to have that t-shirt someday. So I got to be a Spartan today, right? And that started in my head. I definitely was not a Spartan on day one. But in my head, I decided I could do it. I could be that guy. And then came the middle part, the do, right? Be, do, have, okay? I decided I was going to be a Spartan. Then it became a question of what does a Spartan do? What do I need to do? Now that I'm a Spartan in my head, what do I have to do to manifest to the world that I'm a Spartan, right? Well, the first thing was I had to go figure out how to run 3 miles. So I did it. And it was a lot of work, and it was hard, and it was miserable, and I hated every day of it. But the day came that I got what I wanted. I could run that 3 miles, right? And then it was, okay, well, now I got to learn to throw a rope. Now I got to be able to swing on monkey bars and rings and do all these things that I also couldn't do. And I had to go train and figure out how to do that stuff. And as I did those things, I became, in real life, the person that I'd already become in my head, okay? And then the glorious day came where I had that medal. I had the shirt, I had the medal, got all the pictures, right? got to jump over the fire. There was all the things that I'd envisioned in my head, those moments I'd lived in my head, all happened in real life. And it was so cool. And the coolest part of the whole thing, I think, was, when I was done, my whole family came, and my little 6-year-old daughter runs up to me and she said, "Daddy, I'm going to be just like you someday." And it just hit me how powerful this one thing was, because here I was showing my kids, Dad just spent 5 months training to do something he wasn't capable of doing, but he decided he was going to do it. And here it is. I did it. Okay. Now, what brought this to mind today was, I got an email. So it's May 2020. We're in the middle of the COVID-19 shutdowns. Everybody's stuck in their houses. I was planning to do a Spartan race again in June. And, that got canceled like everything else in the world got canceled because of COVID-19. But I got an email today from the Spartan people, and they said, "Hey, we're organizing this weekend. We're organizing a worldwide virtual Spartan series." Okay. So pick a race, go, here's what we're going to do. Obviously there's not an obstacle course. So go run the distance of whatever race you're going to pick, and then go do all these exercises as obstacles. And if you do it, you'll get a virtual medal. And if you pay us like $20, we'll send you a shirt and a medal. Right. And I saw that and I was like, I got to go do that. Right. And, now I will confess I've let myself go a little bit the last couple months. I have not been running as often. So I went running this morning and wanted to die. I did 3 miles today, but I wanted to die when I got home. But what was so cool is I saw this email and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go do that. It's in 2 days. It's Thursday today. This is on Saturday that they're doing this, right? And I was like, I got to go do this. And it was so funny because it was just hours after I almost collapsed on the pavement running 3 miles. But I'm going to go run 3 miles. I'm going to go do all these exercises. And I'm going to get the shirt and the medal because I want it. And so I texted one of the guys I run with sometimes, like, "Hey, what do you think?" He's like, "Let's go do it." And as I was thinking about that experience tonight, I realized I have what I wanted. I'm healthy enough. Now it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be hard, sure. But I have today a body that's capable of just saying on a limb, I'm going to go do this in 2 days. And as I was thinking through it, like after I got through the emotions, like, I almost wanted to die this morning. I have a knee that I hurt hiking last week. I don't know how this is going to go. But what I realized is none of that mattered. None of that occurred to me. None of those things that, I can't do that. I can't run 3 miles. I got my knee hurts. Like, none of that occurred to me. It was just, I'm a Spartan. This is cool. I'm going to go do it. And it just reinforced for me this paradigm of when you decide today, like, get rid of the mental barrier that you have to have something to be the person that you want to be, to live the life that you want to be. Decide now, I'm going to be that person. Make it happen in your head. Become that person in your head. And then just figure out what needs to happen to bridge that gap between who you believe you are now and manifesting that in the real world. That's the do piece in the middle, right? So what investment of time, what investments of money, what investments of effort do you need to make today so you can be the person that you want to be? So you can have in real life what you want, right? So you can be the husband or wife now, right? You don't have to be financially free to go on a date every week. Start going on dates every week. Take time, make time to spend with your kids. Be intentional, right? So whatever those things are for you, we all have those things, right? Where we've created this mental barrier of, I got to have this thing before I can live what I want. You don't, okay? Just decide. You're going to be that thing today. And maybe you can't do it right now, right? Maybe I can't be a world traveler right now because I'm not financially free. I don't have the time and money to do it. But can I go to a national park with my kids? Can I go hiking with my kids? What can you do today? And focus on that. What can you do today? What would somebody who's decided to be whatever it is you want to be go do right now, or go do this weekend, right? And start doing that stuff. Make those investments. Anyway, it was just a cool experience I had today. I wanted to get on here. I wanted to share that because it was just a powerful reminder of what happens when we flip that normal paradigm to being what we want to be today in our head, doing what that person would do, and then seeing that manifest in real life and having what it is we want. All right. So take a few minutes and think about what's an opportunity in your life to break down one of those mental barriers you've created, right? What do you want to be right now? and then just decide what do you need to do so you can have that thing. All right. So that's my challenge for you today. I'll catch you on the next episode.